was fortunate enough to find you, and I'll never forget, it was a Wednesday, it was almost a year ago, and I was hurting so bad, and I saw it, and I was on my lunch break, and you said, and I called, and you're like, yeah, you can come now if you want, and I just like almost fell down. Yeah, I take walk-ins.
All right, got your answer.
I'm not doing anything, I promise.
Both sides were combed pretty evenly. The right side is the area that's been overworked, so it already flushed itself. This is the stuck side. That's why he's going to overwork the right lower, because this is jammed up. I've seen you a few times from Port Orange, and want you to go over just a few things that we've gone through and some of your care, how you, when we first started working on you and what you were feeling.
Yeah. So basically all my life I've been surfing, and last 5 years or so, my neck muscles back here just been killing me. Local chiropractors, acupuncture, rolfing, massage, deep tissue, you name it, had it, and I was fortunate enough to find you, and I'll never forget, it was a Wednesday, it was almost a year ago, and I was hurting so bad, and I saw it, and I was on my lunch break, and you said, and I called, and you're like, yeah, you can come now if you want, and I just like almost fell down. Yeah, I take walk-ins. So I'm like, okay, I called off, and I made the over 3-hour drive over here, and all the pain was over here, but you told me you got an old injury here. So long story short, came and saw you that day, came again that Saturday, and I been feeling really good. But instead of it all hurting here now, it's 99% of the time over here. Not all the time, but it's still annoying to where pain can get really intense here. And then I've come and seen you again for like a leg issue. I've had an MRI, no injury. You worked and I helped that, but I have a little bit of a hip and IT tightness. So you worked on it. You helped it a ton last time. So that's my two main issues.
Yeah, the oldest injury, what we're talking about, is in the right side of his neck is an avoidance of that right, and that's what caused that stress on your left side in the first place. And as we undo your posture and go back into those old injuries on the right side, we're sort of confronting them. Take one deep breath in and let all the air out. There we go. Checking your middle back. Deep breath in. Let the jaw relax open. Let the air out. There you go. And then deep breath in. One more. Exhale. Work. We gotta get that unlocked. Breathe for a second. Yep. Look over this shoulder. Yeah, there you go. Breathe. Exhale. Let it go. Exhale. There we go. Good. Other side for me. A little bit there. All right. Let's go face up.
When I lay down here, I feel it running over here. So,
side.
like I said, it takes turns where the nerve path is going.
Yeah, the nerves that leave your lower neck. So your lower neck, for everybody watching, the nerves that leave the lower neck also go to the shoulder. So I'm going to speak sort of synonymously when I talk about the lower neck and the shoulder. They're really the same thing. The health of your shoulder comes from the nerves in your lower neck. So if I say, he says his shoulder hurts, and I say that's because your lower neck, those are directly tied together. And to take stress off the lower neck, the upper neck is designed to work first. So Darren, we've talked about this, getting your upper neck working. It actually doesn't feel too out of place. I mean, it's not too out of center. I've felt this, I think, way farther out to the right here. So I can tell you've been doing the dead roll, and you've been doing the stretching. We're just going to go up here and make sure that you're loose so that when you're stretching, it's effective.
That's where it's tight.
Yeah, right there. I feel it. Let it go right over here. There we go. I got your head. There you go. Yep. There you go. Yep. There we go. Little Atlas foot connection.
Back in the day, my older chiropractor, old school guy, he had to wear a helmet because I almost kick him in the
head.
Yeah. Every time I get adjusted, like my feet just they always jump, and I don't know.
I got you. Just relax. There you go. Keep that chin up for me. All right, got you.
I'm not doing anything, I promise. It's
Sorry, I'm
Where
not
did you
that
no, it's fine. It's done it ever since I've been chiropractic since I was 15 years old.
So why would that do that?
I don't know. Ask your husband.
I had when I first started practicing with my father, I had a female patient that came in, and she would always, whenever I adjusted her neck, she would put her hands underneath her bottom. And I remember asking her, like, why are you doing that? She's like, well, your father won't adjust me unless I put my hands underneath my bottom. And I was like, well, why is that? He's like, well, one of the first times he adjusted me, when he adjusted my neck, my hands flew up in the air and hit him in the face. And So from then on out, my father's like, put your hands underneath your bottom. And it's just involuntary movement. You're stimulating the nervous system. Oh, yeah, no, there's scar tissue right there. It's just, when you're doing the therapy exercise you were mentioning earlier, they have you doing, the doorway and the bicycling and the different physical therapy exercises. Strengthening muscles isn't a bad thing. I just wonder when we're strengthening the muscles if we're putting stress on the joints that are overworked, right? And if your upper neck is tight, if your upper neck is working when you do them, I don't really have an issue, but does that make sense? If this upper neck is tight and then your lower neck is really loose and we do a lot of exercise, it has to me the potential to put more stress on the parts that are involved in the activity.
Right.
And the parts that aren't involved sit on the sidelines and observe. So this area feels, it definitely has some rigidity in here, and going back to probably, who knows, teenage years, early 20s, injuries you have that.
Well, the injury I can think of is actually high school. Me and my buddy were getting on 95. He was driving a Bug, and we got on the highway, and he didn't see a car coming on the left-hand side, and we basically flipped 3.5 times in a Volkswagen Bug, no seatbelt. My window was down, and we slid. I'm not sure. I think it was like 25, 30 yards. It was just crazy how far we just. No, it wasn't that long. But anyway, we went really far. I climbed out the front windshield, and there was a off-duty paramedic type person who came over and what's going on? I said,
Miracle you were.
Yeah, Yeah, and
Rejected it?
nothing. And then I said, well, my head kind of hurts, but I'll be okay. Because, well, listen, I've had people who said their head hurt, woke up in a coma the next day. So I said, okay, let's go to the hospital.
After a trauma like that, your body expects you to do it again. So it puts up walls and fortifications in your neck. Any joint that gets injured says, you hurt me and I'm going to lock myself down. I had a patient the other day with a car accident, and we got immediately on ice. We immediately started adjusting the non-injured areas. Does that make sense? Because I want him to heal with mobility. I can't let him heal stiff.
No.
And many times people have accidents and they put heat on the areas that are injured, so it further injures them. They don't put ice on them properly, like Peyton Manning getting an ice bath, or baseball players with ice right on their shoulder in the dugout.
Right.
You want to get ice on acute injuries as quickly as you can. Keep digging on this. He's just got a lump. He's got to have his upper neck unlocked.
So talking about ice, are you fans of cryo machines then?
They're fine. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it needs to be your whole body. It just needs to be the injured areas, mainly in the acute phase. So first 72 hours after any injury is the acute phase, and then after 72 hours we term it chronic. You can have an acute exacerbation of a chronic injury. So now we get into some confusing terms. You can have something that you've had for a while and then you re-injure it, which you would then use ice on. Does that make sense? You wouldn't want to put heat on a chronic injury that you've re-excited or re-aggravated. That can be a little confusing. But otherwise, any new injury, you sprain an ankle, you slam a finger in a door, you have a car accident, you want to get ice on any of the areas that are hurting at the very least, or almost preventatively, I ice people's lower necks and lower backs. The high value targets that are the ones that typically age at a faster rate. There it is. It moved a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, just tight up there.
And what happens is it actually starts feeling a little bit better, but then, I have bands at home, and I do like band exercises.
Right.
I don't really use weights, but I do the bands back and forth, do like a paddling motion, like trying to stay in cardio, but I guess almost like that motion seems like, the next day or the day after, that's when I really start getting irritated.
I don't like it.
You don't like the bands at all?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not a big fan of when you're doing bicycling or bands. Again, I don't know if a muscle can hold everything together. I'm not saying that muscles can't temporarily do it, but you're trying to make a muscle stronger to stabilize your spinal column. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
And my answer really is good luck. I don't. The alignment and the mobility and the posture, the ligaments, the joints, the discs, those are the structures that are supposed to give us stability. Muscles can do it, but they fatigue. So, you're strengthening muscles, and at the same time you're doing that, you're also putting stress on the joint and the nerve. Does that make sense? So I don't know. I would work on the curve. I know I'm in a massive minority saying what I'm saying right now. I believe it to be a better solution to ice the lower neck, work on your dental, work on your curve, work on your roller on your upper back, work on and redirecting stress to the other areas. And then when you want to do surfing, you understand that's enough stress on your lower neck, right? Just doing what you want to do in life puts enough strain. Even driving in a car for 6 hours, that makes sense. That put enough strain on your lower neck. You don't need to be further. It's like people are already really good at touching or bending forward, let's say. You understand? Mm-hmm. So in yoga, I have people that do forehead to knee, and they're like really good at forehead to knee or rabbit pose. Does that make sense? The bending forward postures. Yep. But they're really, really bad at camel or standing bow pose. You understand? Yep. Cobra.
Yep, you told that before.
Right. So, yeah. So if you're really bad at one thing and you're really good at another thing, which one should you be working on? Right? The ones that you're not good at. There's some.
Oh wow,
crunchy. Well, I'm just gonna work here. All right. Yeah, right there. That's all I got. Yes.
I think that's all I got.
Tap.
Uncle.
Tap.
Uncle.
No, I'm going to give you, loosen this up as much as I can, and we'll wash out in a second. We're not trying to do a soothing, we're trying to break loose adhesions and glue that form within a joint. After 10 days of it not moving, it starts to become glued. All right, holding you back. Here we go. There it is. You felt that?
I did. I haven't felt that one before.
You can't. I wish we could pick that up, but we can't. I mean, I could feel it through my hand, and he feels it. But that's the bone moving.
I can't remember the last time that I felt. I've never felt that one.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That's what I want you working on, is getting that to be. It shouldn't require a 10-minute massage to get your atlas working properly. And what that tells me is that your lower neck's under extra stress all the time. It should move on the first adjustment. And the left side was tight, right side's reluctant. I want all of that out of there. All right. This angle helps a little bit getting in that channel. He's got pressure here. Three components of thoracic outlet syndrome we're trying to achieve here. One, the vertebrae in the neck going forward, getting that curve back in the neck. Two, the ribs in the upper back have to go down. The first rib is actually way up here. We want to try to press and mold that rib down. And then three, the channel that the nerve sits in has to be cleaned. So the entire trap here, tissue in the upper back, you can't have any soreness or bruising in here. And that, if there is, that leads to sensitization of the nerve, makes the nerve more willing to fire. Good. Just like that. There we go. When you lift your arms up and you're pedaling bicycles, whenever you lift your arm up, the ribs come up in your upper back. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So I want these ribs, that makes sense, I want them down. The only way I know how to do that is, there's another dental called the yellow thoracic dental, and it goes right here, I'll show it to you in a minute, and it presses downwards on that upper back, and then you stretch on that for 20 minutes. The roller doesn't really work real well in here because the scapula prevent pressure on the spine. Mm-hmm. They're in the way, and so once we get you loose enough, we want to start using this yellow guy. Have I showed that to you yet?
I don't think so.
I want to show you that, and that's what you're going to hook that right here and press down, and it's going to give you some traction.
Yeah, that typically right there. it balls up like a baseball.
You gotta mash it. You gotta mash that rib down, attachment. These are attachments. Yeah, right there. It's all crunchy. The mark is never normal, but that mark, this is what I'm doing more muscular exercise. Does that make sense? Might make more lactic acid build up. I want the lactic acid gone. I want no marks in here. Having soreness and lactic acid in your neck promotes an environment where you're going to be in pain. And right where you're pointing, there's acidity trapped in here, which is one of those three components I talked about earlier. One, the channel being bruised. Two, the rib being up. Three, the bone in the neck being flexed. You're saying your chin is down, the bones pop out towards the back. So working on that curve, this is causing that pain. Right there, it's real quickly. I'm not pushing that hard, right? I mean,
No. The wife's actually used the back of a butter knife.
Yes, this is why you're hurting in here, Darren. There's just the nerves are having to float in this tissue, and then there's age discs. Then as the tread gets lower, it doesn't take as much to aggravate the nerve. So discs can be rehydrated, but it's a slower process, and it's and then even to some degree, by the end of the day, the discs dehydrate, and it's hard they don't hold water as long as they did when you were younger. The thoracic cage has 12 ribs on each side, and they almost act as if they're like a back brace. They have does it make sense? They connect to the front, and they protect your thoracic cage. The lower neck and the lower back don't have ribs that guard them, and that's where we end up seeing all the stress happening. Does that make sense? Because the chest has this brace around it. We don't ever really see any thoracic disc injury. We see lower neck, C5, 6, and 7 disc injury, and we see L4 and L5 disc injury because you have this anatomical back brace constantly around your thoracic cage. When there's this much acidity in here, to me it's not a question of why you're in pain, it's why wouldn't you be in pain?
This was an old one when I first came in right there. You said that down the line I'd start having some right side sciatica type issues.
Yep.
So
it's not as bad over here. Feel the difference?
Yeah.
I'm
Wow.
not sure if you can see that.
Oh, yeah.
Carl. There's just it's a smooth, right? Can you feel that, Darren? It's like as smooth as an egg.
Yeah, the other side it's
And then there's your car accident.
Yep. Wow.
So as a response, the left side of his middle back has tightened up, and then the right lower is going to compensate. So we want to go through here and reestablish as much mechanical mobility to the area that was injured. We have to talk to it and say, look, sorry, you can't quit. All right. Yeah.
This is so weird. I just can't recall anything in my middle lower back ever hurting, but you're saying it's some from
Doesn't
the
move.
back?
Doesn't move, right? Very good. It won't hurt because it doesn't move until I touch it. Yeah. Yeah, there's gonna be a pretty big mark right here. This is. Oh no. There. Yeah. You know, see it in my elbow there a little bit. There. That's where the injury is. I mean, I don't think I can make you jump on the side. I'll try. It doesn't. It's a lot smoother over here.
You mean his legs jump or just?
He was jumping on us, working
Oh,
on
yeah,
that
yeah,
left.
so I'm
There's-
curious
there's-
too.
And that's so wild because, the sciatica, like lower, like bottom IT band is where I have a lot of pain, but I would think this side would hurt worse, but it's, I mean,
It's the abuse side. The abuse side moves.
It's the other,
Right.
it's the opposite
Yep.
subtract.
Right. Well, the abused side actually functions, so it's not going to hurt when I ask it to function. It's already functioning.
Mhm.
It over functions. It's the stuck side that's the most resistant and non-compliant to me asking the area to bend. I'll try here. I mean, a little bit. Yeah.
That's one of the worst ones, right in that spot right there.
Mhm.
Yep. That's the other one. So that's coming from my neck too?
Well,
Is it-
there's overlap, so the lower neck joints will refer pain to this area. Some of the exercise that you showed me put stress on these muscles, so I don't want you exercising this anymore.
Okay.
In my opinion, I would just be working on bringing the shoulders back.
Okay.
I'm going to show you in a minute how to push these ribs down. Mhm. Right there, yep.
You know my uncle,
That's right.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know your uncle, but
Uncle
you keep
Ed.
calling for him, so.
Uncle Ed.
Uncle. All right.
I gotta guess where it's gonna pop up the most.
Yeah, I'm going right for it. Going right for it.
Like making the cake, so to speak, that you just did
Yeah.
is bad, but like putting the icing on top, you would think this would be worse, but it's not that bad.
You can see the darker region right there. It's a little darker. Can you pick that up? Right there. A lot of water.
Yeah, I drink. That's all. I only drink alcohol.
All right,
I
extra
only drink-
water and plan some rest stops on the way home to relieve. You're gonna need to be your kidney's gonna be, after I move all this out of the muscles
Mhm.
into the bloodstream, all this acidity is gonna be processed by your kidney. Your liver and kidney really only can process what's in the bloodstream. It's not in the bloodstream. They don't get access to it. It's outside of the bloodstream, in the interstitial, inside the muscles, inside the cells. The acidity is waiting for oxygen. That's part of what we're doing. We're binding it to oxygen. That's how your body gets rid of it. There you go. Yeah, some rolling in the car, some impact, and then rib injury. Yeah, right there. Hello.
I don't remember that ever hurting.
I know. Feel that? Yeah.
Yeah, I feel it.
All right.
Where did that come from?
Well, we're just- I've gone exploring. Look what I found in the ancient regions of the Mayan. Off-roading now.
There's another one.
All right, I got you. I got you. Come on. Come on. Hello. Relatively, this is all smooth over here. There's not nearly the lumps and crunchiness that's on the left side. It's all blocked up, and then the right side is the functioning side. There's nearly as much over here. There's definitely not as much on these ribs. On the side here, there's
Which is weird because it's my right side. I would figure I'd use my right side because I'm right-handed and, you know, just right dominated. I would figure this side would be worse.
I'll try. See if I can find some stuff. There's little pieces. I got little. I'm not saying it's 100% clean, but how much more time do I spend in here seeing only tiny little bits? I don't arbitrarily comb something, right? If nothing happens, I move on, right? When I start seeing more, then I go, okay, where does it stop? And on this side, it kept growing.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so much on that left side. But this is about all you're going to get on it. There's some here. There's a little dings and dents, but so the right side actually works, and that's why it hurts. It's actually getting good blood flow mechanically. Moving an area helps to imbibe fluid into the tissue. So when an area doesn't move, it promotes an environment of stagnation. The mechanical overworking of this area promotes blood flow, so you're not going to have as much acidity in here. So we're trying to loosen up the SI joint here. There's a couple muscles here, tensor fasciae lata, glute medius, piriformis. These muscles really listen to the sciatic nerve. If the sciatic nerve and the lower back nerves are upset, these muscles contract, and so stretching these muscles to me is short-term at best. It makes sense. You have to relieve the nerve pressure that's causing the contraction. That's caused by all that blockage in your middle back. Does that make sense? The lower back is overstressed. There's inflammation, disc injury, joint inflammation, and that irritates the nerve, and so you're gonna feel it down your leg into the glute, but it's because there's. Now, as you relieve the pressure off the nerve in your lower back, you do need to go into the glute to release the spasm. Right there. This is where I think when you rolled your car, this is where you got the most injured here. Both sides were combed pretty evenly. The right side is the area that's been overworked, so it already flushed itself. This is the stuck side. That's why he's going to overwork the right lower, because this is jammed up. So we got to clean all.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Yeah, that's what we're dealing with. That's all that. I'm saying there's some over here. Get the idea?
Yeah.
Right, but that whole left side, that's why I'm needing a lot of water. It takes some stops. All that's going to be coming out in the next couple hours.
Yeah, and that's what that rib was. It really hurt.
Right there, it gets in trouble.
Yeah, which, like I said, I thought it was a knee injury, so I want to go to MRI, but there was nothing, no particular impact. But due to sitting so much last year, being stuck inside, working from home due to the,
Yeah, you can't-
what's going on, that aggravated it more than anything. It seemed like.
Yeah, you can't have any contraction here. You can't be any soreness. I want all this right there.
Yeah.
All that's got to be combed out of there. And stretching the knee, I'll show you in a minute, can help get some blood in here and help speed up that process. But
Is it going to be more on the inside or typically on the outside?
usually vastus medialis is the most tight part of the quad.
That's the inside, right?
The inside.
Sorry.
So yes, you have 4 muscles of your
I'm
quad.
going to be like, oh, how do you spell this and look it up online?
I was about to say, I think you need to specify.
Okay, let me do the-
All right, so we have 4 muscles. Quad means 4, right? Quad means 4 muscles. We have vastus medialis,
Okay.
vastus lateralis,
Okay.
vastus intermedius, and you have rectus femoris.
I know laterals outside, so I got that.
So there's
Okay.
four muscles of your quad. So of those 4 muscles, they're independent muscles. We bundle them together as one. So you're like, my quad muscle, and it's like, well, that's a multiple. There's muscles in the quad.
Right.
4, and vastus medialis is its own independent muscle here. The tighter vastus medialis gets, its attachments down here on the tibia, and then it contracts and binds up the medial meniscus, and that's what dehydrates and grinds this part of the cartilage in the knee. Now, the more the foot flares, the more this contracts. The foot flare is generally because there's piriformis contraction. There's piriformis contraction because you're abusing your right lower part of your back. Right? So right lower part of your back being abused from your left middle back being stuck, right lower back gets abused, right piriformis contraction in the glute, which is why you didn't like that being rubbed. That causes foot flare, causes contraction of vastus medialis, destroys your medial meniscus. So you got a couple dominoes there.
Yeah.
And even the tightness in your middle back probably has something to do with your upper neck. Other than the, I want to kick him in the face part. Right there, here it comes. Almost done. All right, done.
I'm going to kick him.
Right.
I'm going to kick him.
I know. I can see the reflex happening. Sorry, it was a reflex. Are you sure that felt like very voluntary?
Oh, I can get him good now with the right
You're
one.
right, exactly.
Careful.
Yeah.
Strap me down.
That felt very voluntary. Just put it over there, and then just try to come down. Perfect. You got it. Yep. And then see how that stretches that. And even while you're in that position, you can go digging.
Oh.
So that's while you're, and that, I know.
Wow. Yeah.
You want to have fun. Release that tension in there. You can't have any soreness. Quiet little bones. Quiet little toes. Uh-huh. Okay, all right. Good, yeah.
I always feel like my guy always needs like the
Uh-huh.
hold for the hip.
Uh-huh. I gotcha. Nice, yeah, there we go.
I like that one. Actually.
Yeah. And he went crazy. I got you. Tilt a little bit left. There you go. You all right? Kick your
If I'm not sure.
I'll put the mic over here.
Yeah, put that up.
Yeah. There we go. There we go. Tilt a little bit to the left. Good.
It's different, huh?
Yeah, it is, definitely.
There we go. Tilt a little bit to the right. There we go. Yeah. And tilt. There, good. Yeah. Uh-huh. And then same thing, arms up, and then you're gonna push with your feet and get a little bit of a downward. Does that make sense? Tissue pull. You all right? Like that. You feel that? You want that in between the shoulder blades, but I don't think this is probably gonna be intense enough. We're gonna need those support blocks to make it taller. Does that make sense? And you could be a little lower, anywhere between the shoulder blades. You could go. Yeah, this could be a little bit lower. Lift up for me a little bit. Sorry. You be down here a little bit. That makes sense.
Now it's more permanent.
You want it in between the shoulder blades, and you want that downward. So you make your contact on the skin, and then see how the tissue moves. You want a downward pressure, so you're gonna slide upwards.
Yeah.
You get the idea?
Yeah.
So you're
Yeah, it starts pinching on my top right shoulder blade.
put the arm down. Put the arm down.
Oh, that's better.
Put it down. It's gonna be trial and error a little bit. You understand? You're gonna have to
Mhm.
figure out where the nerves are and where you can.
Yeah, that starts pinching again over on that part. Now it goes up. Wow, that nerve shoots down that arm.
Yeah, we can't bend you back that quickly. So even with this guy, we might need something behind your head. Do you understand?
Mhm.
To prevent your lower neck from bending too much. I got him. How's it feel now?
That's better.
It's okay. Yeah, you might need to.
Yeah, that's way
It's
better.
it's baby steps. It's just you might do like a month like this. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
It might not. Give me a book, I guess. Let me see. This is probably too tall, but get the idea. You want pressure in between that shoulder blade without aggravating the lower neck. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
And then you have some support. There you go. Have some support behind the head.
Oh yeah, I can really feel that up here more than anything now.
And you want to stretch. See, any roller doesn't it contacts the shoulder blades too. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So the pressure on the spine is interfered with because the shoulder blades are preventing pinpoint pressure on the spinal column. So they had to take something. They had to take this guy and cut it in half to make it thin enough, and then it's a little harder to balance on, but it gives you good pressure in between your shoulder blades. And this is how you reduce the hump in the upper back and engage the upper back, get it moving better.
Yeah, because even my hands are like this left hand's like tingling. The fingers are tingling.
Put it down, see if it'll go away.
Yeah, what am I?
Yeah, you're gonna have to. What's gonna happen is you're gonna have to go to that edge and back off. You understand? You're running into the nerve, and you have to come off an inch. And as you progress through this, hey, Ed, now I can put my arms aside the whole time. They don't go tingling anymore. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
Now I can have my head on the ground and they don't go tingling. Does that make sense?
Gotcha.
It would be it's different layers of this, but this is the progression you need to be working on.
So what I usually do is make sure to point that way, and then I do this, and I always push it as far like that.
Good.
And then this is how I usually do it with my like doing a full
Good.
stretch. Is this okay
Good.
like this?
Yep.
Okay, and this is how I'll set a timer for 15 minutes.
Yep.
I'll just lay here like this.
Yep. So I'm saying we've mastered this. With the next, it's either we then try to see if you can rotate. Now, let's see if I can watch you. See if you can figure out how to grab the side of the den roll. There you go. There you go.
Oh, don't get
There you go. You almost got it. Yep. There you go. See how it gets that pressure on that upper back? I know it's hard to balance on it, but it just wants to slide on you. Let it rotate a little more. There you go. Sometimes I have to have the arms up a little higher to get them to hold it. It's a trick.
There.
It's
The neck is like way. It's like it's like
yeah.
I
Easier.
feel like a turkey right now, so it's like I can do it. And it's great. I love it because I know. Because I just love when I can't see my shoulders. Like every
Yeah.
time I've seen you,
Yeah.
when I can't really see my shoulders, like on the front here, they're back where they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Before I come in, I'm like, and that hurts actually now doing
Yep,
that.
don't do it.
When I came
Don't do it.
in.
Hold it upright. Keep the weight back.
Yeah, this is great. I love this.
You did great, brother.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Awesome.